cannot go together. Unless we see verifiable and credible action dismantling the terror network that operates out of your country, there is no point talking. So talks cannot happen for just talk's sakes. They have to have an objective of a forward movement. And so there's no point going around in circles. Then Imran Khan would have thought that let's take the moral high ground, that look, we are a great professional army, a country with a large heart. We handing over India, its officer who was caught on our soil. So therefore, to show that it was an aggression or violation of their airspace by India, and once it was there, the Indian Air Force pilot plane was shot down. The pilot ejected and landed in their territory. So he would have tried to take the moral high ground, but clearly it's not cutting much ice with the international community. These are things that Pakistan would have had to do anyway, and if it did not, he would have abdicated his responsibility in international law. They are signatories to the Geneva Convention. It's basically making a virtue out of necessity, one.
Yeah.
And secondly, it could be for domestic consumption, that look, India is the aggressor, and India wants to, that while Pakistan is the one who's trying to de-escalate the situation, even went to the length of returning a captured officer of the Indian, for them we are the enemy, of the enemy to them, yet they did not have large-heartedness to respond, and they're belligerent, and they are trying to escalate. So that's the narrative they want to peddle in their own country. They are free to do so.
And the drawing of new lines, Lakshman Rekhas, as far as terrorism, ordained from across the border is concerned.
That's true. When the Prime Minister says that he's proud of Wing Commander Abhinandan, he's only echoing the sentiment of the nation. He's just saying what the whole nation is feeling right now, and the whole nation is feeling this emotion with a lot of intensity, because here is a man who lands, strikes the Pakistani military, brings their F-16 down, lands in their territory, conducts himself bravely, with valor, with honor, and that man is coming back to his motherland. So the whole nation, that emotion, when the Prime Minister mentioned that, he echoed that sentiment of the nation. When the Prime Minister spoke at Kanyakumari about how new lines are drawn, that is true. If you look at, post Pulwama, what has happened is that the narrative earlier was, the position was, terror and talks cannot go together. Post Pulwama attack, that counter-terrorism strike, that non-military preemptive strike, was that Pakistan should finish this terror network, this terror infrastructure. If they don't, we will. So that has been added. And the subsequent actions, the cabinet decisions of yesterday, the CCS deciding to ban the Jamaat-e-Islami, Jammu and Kashmir, the crackdown on Hurriyat leaders, the whole security narrative now is that, the space that was given, if it impinges upon the territorial integrity of the nation, it shall not be tolerated. Talks, India is open to with Pakistan, provided it stops terror. Even within Jammu and Kashmir, all sort of voices are allowed, are permissible, engagement can happen, but if it impinges on the basic integrity and sovereignty of the nation, it shall not be tolerated. The Jamaat-e-Islami, Jammu and Kashmir, is the head work of radicalization and extreme radicalization of the youth of Kashmir. It is a fundamental organization of which, from where Hurriyat draws its fuel, it is also the organization of whose militant wing is the Hizbul Mujahideen. Separatism and radicalization is what they do as their non-stated agenda. So banning them for 5 years is a decision they took. So basically now they're trying to, the whole narrative is changed, that the new narrative, that is the new lines that you're talking about that are being drawn, are that the new fight against terror will be within the parameters of dialogue, open dissent, engagement, all done. But if it leads to something as sinister as Pulwama, you shall be resolutely fought back, and that shall not be tolerated.
And let's also talk about the reality of Pakistan as well here, Amrit. I'll just quote a tweet by a Pakistani journalist, that fairly credible journalist. There are those of that variety. They're not all in one one bracket. And she's saying, before threatening us with war, India should have realized that the whole world is standing with Pakistan because we have to return them their money.
Ah, okay, yeah. That's a good. No, one thing you must appreciate, the sense of humor that the Pakistanis have. In fact, I was watching one television program last night, and there one of the commentators said that as a joke, that food was offered to Wing Commander Abhinandan by the Pakistani army, and he refused to eat it, saying there are no tomatoes in it and I like tomatoes. So, when the Pakistani journalist says that the world is talking to us because they got money, we got to pay back their money, she's saying that jokingly, but it is also a reflection of what the reality is.
Yes.
And she's also, and that reality should dawn upon Prime Minister Imran Khan. When Imran Khan, you see, look at Imran Khan. He came with the promise of breaking the old rules of the rules of the old game, redefining the rules.
Naya Pakistan.
Naya Pakistan, exactly. He said, done with the old politics, done with the Sharifs, done with the Bhuttos. This country wants a change. And people of Pakistan bought into it. Look at at PTI, it came into power in 3 states. Who would have imagined PTI coming into power in Punjab? Who would have? Sindh is the only province which they don't have.
Right.
So, and then they came into power at the federal level as well. Now, Imran
with the
Khan
help of a lot of people saying the Pakistani army.
Could be. But Imran Khan did make some concerted efforts towards changing the situation of the country, to improving economy, to engaging with the world, primarily the Islamic world at the beginning, but he was moving in that direction, and it was being
he was basically reaching out for some people have very uncharitably described it as with a begging bowl to all his friends, so-called friends.
Yeah, people can say what they want to, but basically he was, look at it from his perspective, look at it from his country's perspective. He was trying to change the economic condition of Pakistan, which is in a bad state. And even if he needs to go out with a begging bowl, so be it. But what Pulwama has done is it set back his own efforts. Pulwama has isolated Pakistan. Now India has stepped up the diplomatic offensive. Had this not happened, had Pakistan, if it was trying to tell the world that look, we are changing, if they had taken action on terror, the world's sympathies would have been with Pakistan, try and pull them out of the deep morass that they are in. Had he improved, moved forward on terror, he did the Kartarpur corridor, which the government of India responded by agreeing to it. There could have been forward movement on things, but this has set the ball back to where it was, and in fact we are back in a era of hostility, and there is escalation. So,
right.
Which doesn't augur well for Pakistan in the long run. It can't afford such misadventurisms. So, the problem also is that the basic divide within Pakistan, the military-civil divide. Military has its own agenda. It controls the foreign policy. It is the deep state which uses terrorism as an instrument of state policy. All these Hizbul Mujahideens, Lashkar-e-Taiba.
Yeah, but Amrit, there's again indication that Pakistan is unwilling to learn any lessons, and it's quite a joke again, because I'm just looking at the Reuters Pakistan handle on Twitter, and saying Pakistan to lodge UN complaint against India for eco-terrorism, forest bombing.
For eco-terrorism?
Forest bombing.
Forest bombing, okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So,
I don't know, it could be a joke.
uh, so, so basically, Pulwama in the long run has harmed Pakistan, and it has harmed the agenda of Naya Pakistan. So, you know, if Imran Khan, maybe Imran Khan understands that, maybe Imran Khan is helpless. You know, he was a great captain who brought the World Cup to Pakistan. And as a captain, he could control everybody. I've heard the interviews of cricketers who were a part of his team. They
Right.
said that we used to be so scared of him, and he would call us right in the dressing room, and everybody would listen to what Imran would say. And to
Well, in the
his
pantheon of cricketers, he's a living legend, but as a
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
politician,
That to his you know, surprise, he would have realized that the Prime Minister of Pakistan is not the captain of Pakistan. The captain of Pakistan sits in GHQ Rawalpindi. So maybe he's not liking that reality. Maybe there is nothing much he can do to change that reality. So, so in the overall, what has happened is that as the world, look at what Sushma Swaraj today speaking at the OIC said. She
Correct.
said we are not against any religion, but terrorism with whatever name, with whatever justification, even if religious, is not acceptable. And the OIC listened to them, to her. This was the bastion of the last refuge of the scoundrels, so to speak, and they would go there and but talk about themselves as some sort of you know, saviors of the OIC and the Islam. The OIC would pass their fancy Kashmir resolutions, which of course didn't cut much ice with the rest of the world, but at least they thought so. Today that world is inviting you. That the narrative has gained traction at a multilateral forum like